And we are live. Hey, everybody. This is Roberto Blake. Welcome to another Wednesday workshop. This is where we're going to be doing our 12 weeks of YouTube workshop sessions. This one's going to be focusing on research. So this is part of our larger overall creator playbook. We try to do these workshops on Wednesday, roughly around close to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be going into a deep dive presentation on how to properly research your content. And we're going to be using the focus framework that we teach in Awesome Creator Academy. Also, a reminder that if you're not familiar with it, you can check out our free Creator Foundations course. That should be linked in the description down below if you haven't seen it before. It is a free pay what you want or pay what you can course that you can use to help you become a better overall content creator, and it teaches you a lot of the principles that we use in Awesome Creator Academy for our pro group members. We've actually had a lot of our members this year hit their 100,000 subscriber milestone, so we're very proud of those members. People like Mugnify Anwar from Mugnify Reacts with his music reaction channel, and Victoria from Contempo Coding, just to name a few of the creators in the pro group that have hit major milestones this year. Each of those creators now is over 100,000 subscribers, killing it on YouTube. But without further ado, we want to go ahead and get into the playbook presentation. We're also going to make sure in the description and in the chat, for those of you watching the workshop live, we are going to make sure you're linked to the free Creator Foundations course. Once again, that is a free pay what you want or pay what you can course. It could be $0, absolutely free, or if you want to donate $5, $10, that's fine, whatever you'd like. So we have that. Remember, links to the presentation are in the description. You can get the week 2 presentation here. We also have last week's presentation completely free and live on youtube.com/@RobertoBlake. If you go to the live streams panel, you can see the week 1 workshop. We're going to keep all 12 weeks of the workshops up live and free for all of you. We want to do this to set a solid foundation for content creators who are under 20,000 subscribers and help them grow. So let's go ahead and get into the playbook. Of course, we're going to go through a few brief introductory things for people who are not familiar. We know that there are always new people coming into the workshop and onto the live streams. So this is a completely free workshop for you, brought to you by Awesome Creator Academy. I created that as my own creator education business in 2017, and it's been very successful. We have coached successfully hundreds of creators. There are currently 100 members in our weekly pro group where we do workshops privately twice a week with our group members, where we let them ask questions in a private Q&A. We also share content titles, thumbnails for review. So we do peer review in the office hours. We do office hours twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you want to join the pro group, you can check out Awesome Creator Academy. If you want the slide presentation from the free workshop this week, make sure you go into www.awesomecreatoracademy.com/week2, as in week 02. And you can also use the QR code here on the screen to download the slide presentations. Those should be already available for you to download those slides. We also have the mods here, making sure that's linked in the chat for you. We've also linked it in the description of the video. So for those of you not familiar with me, I'm Roberto Blake. I've been an education-based content creator on YouTube since 2013. Seriously, I've been an OG content creator who's dabbled in YouTube since the very beginning in 2006. I started this channel in 2009, didn't upload to it or take it very seriously in terms of weekly uploads until 2013. I grew my channel to 100,000 subscribers in 2016. Then after that, for 3 years, I grew by 100,000 subscribers every year for 3 years after that, right up until the pandemic. And so I've been doing YouTube for a long time. I managed to turn it into a 6-figure business with Awesome Creator Academy, but I also managed to turn it into a 6-figure business through regular means of brand deals, earning 6-figure from brand deals, making a decent amount, about roughly $35,000 to $40,000 a year in in YouTube ad revenue, and then also doing affiliate revenue. So as just a content creator without selling coaching and courses, I still have been able to be a six-figure content creator for many, many years through the traditional means, mostly sponsorship, which takes content creators full time. And also, my original content was not YouTube help content. My original content was software and camera tutorials. I was in the tech and tutorials niche, and I made over 800 plus videos that had nothing to do with growing a YouTube channel. And I was very successful with that. I also was able to start making a reasonable amount of money in the early days of my channel with the Amazon affiliate program. So now you know who I am and why you should listen to me as somebody who has built an audience of 600,000 subscribers, done 2 million in my lifetime as a creator over 12 years, and done 40 million views on YouTube on my main channel. I've also successfully helped hundreds of creators directly with one-on-one coaching, and of course, thousands upon thousands of creators through free content creation like this. So now you know some of those things. I want to talk to you about your own content. Once again, how long does it take to succeed and become a full-time content creator? We're going to have plenty of slides just so you know that specifically focus on the research thing. We have a lot to break down here, but I think it's important for you guys to have realistic expectations around succeeding as a working class content creator. If you have a full-time job and you're doing content creation part-time, 10 to 20 hours a week maximum as a working class creator with a full-time job, maybe you have a family, maybe you have kids, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not going to be overnight success. It usually takes 5 to 7 years to become a full-time content creator, whether you hit 100,000 subscribers or not. It usually takes 5 to 7 years because you have limited time, limited energy. The biggest tipping point for becoming a full-time content creator is when you start as a part-time content creator with a full-time job. It's usually making enough money to consider leaving your full-time job and taking a risk right before it can even replace your income, because you get to a point part-time where with 10 hours a week, you're starting to get close to seeing how if you were to put 40 hours a week into it, you can go full-time. It's really when people are able to start putting a lot more time into their content and treating it like a job, treating it like a career, treating it like a full-time business. That's the tipping point that usually gets people to where they can make $5,000 to $10,000 a month from their content creation. It's very hard for a lot of people if they can only do it 10 hours or less a week, depending on the content that you're doing. So that's just the averages. I had an unfair advantage. I was a full-time freelancer, and even though I had client work to do, I could command my schedule. I also was in my late 20s and was willing to work 60 hours a week if that's what I had to do. So not everyone's in that position. Understand that for most people, if you're a working class content creator, 5 to 7 year journey, we're going to try to cut down some of that, because a lot of that 2 to 3 years where people give up is because they stay under 20,000 subscribers and usually under 10,000 subscribers. And it's a struggle for them to justify the commitment away from their family and away from their other hobbies. So here are some stats you need to know, and this is going to put this into perspective before we dive into our full presentation. Most creators never, ever even get to 10,000 subscribers. Less than 10% of all creators get to 10,000 subscribers. Very, very few creators, less than 1% of creators, even get to 100,000 subscribers. If you were to get to 100,000 subscribers, you absolutely are in the top 1% of YouTube, and almost nobody in terms of all the 115 million channels across all of YouTube even usually get to 1 million subscribers. So if you feel like you're struggling to grow, understand that this is perfectly normal. There are 115 million channels worldwide, and there are only 3 million in the YouTube Partner Program. So this information that I'm showing you, these stats, these are from a previous presentation I did. I believe I did these at VidCon, I want to say last year. So the stats they're fairly recent, but it's actually probably harsher than this now just because of how many new creators there are, especially with YouTube Shorts. So do take this with a grain of salt and just understand that struggling on YouTube is normal. Succeeding on YouTube is rare. It's not down to luck. It is that most people just don't have the circumstances to succeed on YouTube, and most people quit in that 2 to 3 year period where they just give up. So I just want you guys to know that so that you don't get discouraged. Now, today's workshop is focused on research for your content. And I think it's important to start with why researching your content matters instead of just making whatever you want. One of the reasons that most content creators struggle and fail, one of the big reasons, is because they make content that's just focused on their own preferences and their own biases, aka making content that you want to make, even though it may not be what other people want to watch. And a big part of this is a problem, and it's not that you shouldn't be making content you're passionate about. It's that you should be validating your ideas and understanding how big the market for that content is. How many views could you reasonably get? Has anyone ever done this idea, ever done this topic, and ever gotten hundreds of thousands of views from it or millions of views for this? Or am I making content for an audience that may not exist? So you need to validate your ideas. Another thing is you could start making content and you could think you're making whatever you want, but you could be making content that alienates your audience and turns them off. And so that could be a problem. Sometimes you think something's a really good idea, but you didn't take your audience's preferences and biases into consideration and realize that you might be on the wrong side, at least as far as your audience is concerned, and you might have a piece of content or a point of view that they disagree with. So do keep in mind that one of the big problems for most and many content creators is that they're not validating their ideas. They're making something that they really want to make, but they haven't even validated if there is an audience for that idea or whether that video is something that's still relevant to their target audience. They haven't figured out whether that audience is aligned with the idea that they want to make. They could even actually poison the audience against them where they disappoint or aggravate the audience. So that's a real problem. And I feel that one of the issues with this is often not understanding your audience avatar, which we will talk about again. In our previous workshop, we actually drilled heavily into the audience avatar and into the concept of biases, preferences, challenges, expectations, and demographics versus psychographics. We talked a lot about that. We will cover that again briefly here. I also want to remind you that a niche is not a topic because a niche is not a prison. A niche is an audience and a community that you're happy to show up for, and that you not only are interested in the same things, but you're passionate about them in the same way. This is also what's going to keep you from alienating your audience. Example, you might be part of the Star Wars community, but if you were making content for the Star Wars community, are you an OG original trilogy fan? Are you a fan of the sequel trilogy? Are you a fan of the prequel trilogy? Your takes on this could be things that alienate your audience. If your audience is older, maybe they don't like the sequel content. Or maybe if they have kids, they really do like the Disney Star Wars content. You have to make sure that you understand where you and the audience are in terms of being passionate about the same thing, but being passionate about it in the same way. This is what I mean when it comes to alienating your audience. So you have to understand what side of issues they may be on and how they feel about things, and position yourself to communicate to them in an authentic way, but in a way where you're able to be aligned to them and overcome biases or preferences they may have, or make sure you're catering to those biases or catering to those preferences. Vibe attracts tribe, as we say. So one of the other things we have to take into consideration when it comes to researching our content is our entire goal of making content should be to create value for our viewers. Yes, we want to make money and be a full-time content creator. Yes, we would love the status of having a higher subscriber count, maybe even reaching a silver or gold play button and having that status. But all of those things can only happen if we're creating value for our viewers. Our viewers are looking at value in a specific way. It's important that we understand that value is basically the packaging up front and setting expectations for the viewer, setting the table for them. Quality is the experience they have once they click on our videos. So I need all of you to understand the difference between value and quality. When content creators tell you just make quality content, they are doing a disservice to you because they are conflating quality to mean all things about the video. It is more helpful and actionable to separate value, quality, and quantity and to define those things. Value is the perception upfront of the viewer in terms of packaging. So, what does a viewer value? Those are those surface level things that help them make a judgment call about whether they want to watch a video. That is what value it is. It is demonstrating value upfront to the viewer based on their preferences, biases, beliefs, and priorities. So, what the viewer values, we only get to communicate that through the topic title and thumbnail and timing. And you can kind of see how these interplay. If I care about a topic, it also needs to have good timing in order for it to be relevant to me. For a topic to be interesting to me, I have to care about the topic, but then I have to care about how it's conveyed in the title to decide if it has my interest. The title and thumbnail have to be designed to get my attention. And then the thumbnail, if I see the thumbnail first, but then it's not something that is relevant to me in terms of timing, I can't make that video a priority. So you see that value comes down to, am I interested in something? Is it able to grab my attention? Is it relevant to me right now? And can I make this video a priority versus all the other things that are in front of me? So when you look at this Venn diagram that I have here, it really helps you put into perception how a viewer decides what is valuable to them. I think this is one of the most important slides I've ever done. So feel free to screenshot this one right now if you want to. This is an extremely important concept. And I think that in preparing your videos, you need to understand this. What will make this relevant to my audience? What will make this a priority for my audience? How is this going to capture their attention? Why would they be interested in this? You need to be able to answer those questions. If you can answer those questions, then you can understand why your viewer values this and you can understand why they will click. So we have to remember that demonstrating value for the viewer up front, this is how we define it. Quality is the experience after they click on the video that makes them want to stay there. So these are the ways that we obtain a viewer and get their attention. Quality is how we're going to retain and keep that attention once we have them. So we have to demonstrate value up front for the viewer, and this is how we accomplish it. You've heard me talk about the 4 T's before of topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. This is also a really good basis for our research. Now, again, quick reminder, you can download these slides using the QR code or going to the link that we have in the description. So it's very good to have this as a reference, and hopefully you understand this stuff. It looks like you guys are responding to it very well in the chat. So I want to introduce something that we'll be talking about throughout all of our 12-week workshops and our presentations here. These are the 15 creator fundamentals. You've often heard me talk about topic, title, thumbnail, and timing, and those are the main things that you focus on for packaging and demonstrating value to a viewer. But these 15 fundamentals overall will help you with your content strategies going forward and really making sure that you respect your audience. You need to think about the themes that encompass your channel and that will be attractive to your audience members. This becomes really important, and these themes will be present and recurring elements that go throughout the experience of your content. You need to consider the tribe that you're trying to attract. What do these people care about? What makes them have anything in common? What brings them together? Who is this community that you are building? What unique talents do you bring to the table that allow you to stand out from your competitors? Your talents and your personality are what's going to give you a unique value proposition to the audience. How big is the total addressable market for your content? How big is the biggest creator in your market? You know, how big is the biggest creator that has your same audience avatar? What's the most views that someone in your niche for your community, for your audience has ever gotten on a video idea? You need to understand the total addressable market. A lot of you have not researched your content well enough, and you don't know who the biggest 5 creators in your entire community are, and you can't name them. That is a problem because it means you don't understand how big the market is, and you don't understand who the market is, and you don't understand what people have prioritized and given their attention to. Transformation. What is the transformation that happens if somebody is getting real value from your content? If someone's getting real value from your content, what's the transformation that happens? Are you a pro gamer who's teaching them how to be a better gamer in Clash Royale or Brawl Stars or Call of Duty? Is the transformation that they'll stop being a scrub? Will they stop being a rookie? Will they actually become a good gamer if they watch your content? Will they be better in the Call of Duty lobby if they watch your content? Will they be able to defeat this boss battle a lot easier if they watch your content? In my case, the transformation that I'm trying to offer a lot of you is helping you at least become monetized on your YouTube channels, or being able to build your first 1,000 audience members, whether that's on your email list, your YouTube channel, or one of your other social media platforms. How can I help you build at least 1,000 people in your audience? How can I help you get monetized on your channel? How can I help you make your first 100, 500, first 1,000, first 5,000, first $10,000 as a content creator? Those are transformations that I'm trying to see happen for my audience and my community. Topic. What topics does your tribe care about? What are topics that your tribe absolutely cares about, will be relevant to them, and that they will make a priority? What titles can you write that declare value to your audience and communicate those topics properly? What thumbnail styles and design is going to allow your audience to stop scrolling in their phone and give your content a chance and read the title and give it their attention? Timing. What is going to represent timing and trends and relevancy to your audience? Triggers. What emotional triggers, what keywords trigger your audience? Keywords aren't really about SEO. They're about what words does your audience immediately resonate with? What words do they recognize? What words do they prioritize? What words are important to them to communicate that you are a card-carrying member of the same tribe? That's how you need to be thinking of keywords. You need to be thinking of keywords as triggers and signals that say, we are part of the same tribe, we are part of the same community, we are aligned. If you're not doing that, then the truth is it's probably not going to work. It's probably not going to resonate. So this is something that needs to become very important to you. Moving on. Testing. Are you doing things like A/B testing on your content? Are you testing the 80-20 rule of doing 80% of what works and 20% of experimentation? Are you doing tracking? Are you tracking your analytics? Are you seeing what's working? Are you paying attention and tracking your competitors and what they may or may not be doing and what's working for them? Trust and transparency. What are you doing to make sure that your audience can trust what you're putting out there? What are you doing to make sure that you have transparency with them while also making sure that you have clear boundaries? That's something that's really important to focus on. So I would say that it's one of the most important things we'll talk about. Testimonials. If you're doing content creation with the idea of doing it full time, do you have people who can vouch for you? If there's a product you're selling, what are your product reviews like? If you're working with brands, do you have information where these brands can be used in your media kit where you can have a great outcome or a great testimonial for these brands so that more brands want to work with you. Who is vouching for you? Who do you have credibility with what's out there? You could also look at testimonials as your comment section and your chat. What's the vibe of your chat? Does your community rock with you in that way? Does your community stand up for you? Does your community have good things to say? Do your collaborators have good things to say about you? Getting testimonials, getting public vouches in some way, shape, or form is actually more important than you might think. You need to have a good reputation in this industry. It's a very small industry when you really think about it. So that becomes important. And takeaways. What are some takeaways that can be said about your videos or your content as a whole? What can people say about you, and how do they communicate that they got real value from what you created? So these are the 15 fundamentals for creators. We'll be talking about these throughout the 12 weeks that we spend together in these workshops. I definitely would encourage you to make sure you're showing up to these on Wednesdays. We do these Wednesday workshops, but also make sure you're inviting other creators. Don't keep this a secret. We want more creators to understand these things. We want more people playing on the, basically having the same playbook, basically being able to create a more even playing field where all creators can have a solid foundation. It's also why we created the Creator Foundations course. It's also why we've rebranded the Discord community and called the Discord community Creator Foundations, because I never wanted a fan club, but what I have always wanted more people to be able to learn together and grow together. And so that's something we wanted to focus on. Um, we have someone here in the comments in the chat. Where do I start as a beginner? Start as a beginner with our week 1 workshop, and that's a really good foundation. This workshop is another good foundation because what we're talking about today is researching your topics and researching your video ideas. You can't get more basic than that when it comes to where to start. Coming up with good ideas is very good. Also, again, these foundations, like we talked about, these fundamentals that we talked about are a good place to start in terms of where to start. The other thing is value for the viewers, like we said. If you can actually just focus, if you want more views, focus on these things. The energy you put into your topics, the quality of your titles, relevant timing for those ideas to match the audience's priorities and what's relevant to them. Attractive thumbnails. If you want a place to start, a lot of you should just start here. A lot of you are not good at topic research. That's why we're tackling it. We have a workshop that we've done on thumbnail design. We did a 3-hour workshop on that. We're doing another workshop on that. Title crafting. A lot of you do not put enough energy into communicating well. Your titles need to be better because they need to relate to the interest of your viewers. They need to be able to capture attention and work in combination with your thumbnails to do that. And then with regard to timing, they need to be a priority for your viewer and they need to be relevant to your viewer. If you start with this will increase the views. Now, getting more views, you might still not make quality enough content to turn viewers into subscribers, but at least you could start getting views if you focus on these. So for anyone who's ever asked where to start, it is with screenshotting this slide. For every creator from now to eternity, if you want to know where to start when it comes to content creation, start with this. It is that simple. In terms of everything creators should be thinking of, you could pretty much sum it up with these fundamentals. Now, researching your ideas and your competitors. For a lot of you, it's going to come down to a lot of you do not have the ability to come up with good ideas. A lot of you really, if I'm being honest, your biggest problem as a content creator for many of you is that you just don't even know what to make. You just know you want to be a content creator. You don't know what your niche is. In fact, a lot of you, because you don't know really who you are yet, and we talked about this in our last week's workshop, a lot of you are afraid to niche down to a community because you're afraid to commit to something in case it doesn't work out. You're already going into this with the wrong attitude in many cases. So, what you want to do in a situation like that is I would say that if you look at our week 1 workshop, we talked about Ikigai and how to align your passion to a community that you're already a part of and to align that to skills so you can play to your strengths instead of following your passion over a cliff. You play to your strengths so that you can win. And then you align that to creating value for your community, a community you want to be a part of. That's what your niche is. Now, when it comes to this, if you have figured out that, and therefore you figured out who you're trying to please, who your audience is, the tribe that you want to attract, we can go ahead and find the top 5 to 10 creators with performing channels that have the same audience that we have, the same audience avatar, the same like-minded, like-hearted people that we want to attract. Who's already winning with them? Who's already attracting those people? Well, we find the top 5 to 10 of those people. We also want to find 5 to 10 videos from those people that have gotten 100,000 views in the last 90 days. The reason we want to do this, and the perfect tool for doing this, by the way, is oneof10.com. We should have a link to that in the description for you. If you use code Roberto at checkout, they give you 50% off. If you use code AWESOME, they give you a 30-day free trial. So you should be able to find that in the link in the description. We'll also drop it in the chat for you. But the thing that, and the reason you want to use One of 10, I'm not just plugging them because they've been a sponsor and because they're an affiliate, but it's because this is actually going to let you do the research that you cannot do by just using the regular YouTube tool. You cannot do this just by using the regular YouTube search because the key to this is qualifying getting 100,000 views in the last 90 days specifically. And you're not able to search by view by a specific number of views or by channel subscriber range if you just use the regular YouTube tool. So you'll want to use One of 10 because it will allow you to do that filtering. Now, when you do this, you want to put these into a spreadsheet. This will give you, if you do this correctly, you can look at 25 to 100 videos in your niche across 5 to 10 channels, and you'll know what your audience cares about because you'll know what was relevant in the last 90 days. That's a very good indication of what your community cares about. You could use that to be inspired to create your own ideas or even combine ideas from those videos. So this is how you quote unquote steal like an artist. Um, Good artists copy, great artists steal. That's what Steve Jobs said, but he sort of copied that from Pablo Picasso in the vein of good artists copy, great artists steal. So this isn't about you copying their titles and thumbnails outright. This is about you understanding what your audience is responding to, what they are prioritizing, what their standards are. If you look at the thumbnails from the top 10, 5, 10 people in your niche, and then you're able to look at 50 to 100 thumbnails from them, 25, 50, 100 thumbnails from them, and if you're honest with yourself, you will know if your thumbnails suck or not. You will know on a scale of 1 to 5 how your thumbnails compare to someone getting the kind of views you wish you were getting. So that's going to tell you what the standard for being successful in your niche is. You're also going to be able to look at those titles and see what trigger words are the keywords that are resonating with your audience the most. What are the emotional trigger words that are resonating with them? What are recurring themes that they're responding to? What topics are they prioritizing the most? What is the structure of these titles and what is going on here? And why are people watching? If you are looking at 25, 50, 100 videos that performed well for the audience you want with over 100,000 views on them, it should not be hard for you to figure out a video idea that is validated and can get 1,000 to 10,000 views. Does that make sense for those of you who are watching live in the chat? Does that make sense for you when I say this? When I say this, do you now understand what it means to research your competitors and how we use competitors to validate our video ideas? So, I want to introduce you to a framework that we teach in Awesome Creator Academy. This is something that helps us predict viewer satisfaction, and it's called the watch framework. So, when it comes to be able to predict viewer satisfaction, we ultimately want to produce better results that lead to higher watch time, returning viewers, and we want to know that we have a system in place, and we also want to make shareable content. So, in order to predict viewer satisfaction, we have to know that we're winning attention. Winning attention, that's part of why we study the standards of our competitors' titles and thumbnails so that we can raise our own standards and be competitive. We also want to know what our own talents are and what the unique value we're bringing to the table is. And we want to make sure that we find ways to convey that in our own thumbnails so that we can stand out and so we can be different. Same thing for our titles. Some of this could even be taking a contrarian view. So you have to consider that. Remember also that videos do not get views because they're high quality videos, because of their production, because they're editing. No one knows that a video is well produced or well edited unless they're exclusively just watching a creator they're already familiar with. When people want to watch a good video, and it's a creator they're familiar with, they're watching that creator because they know what to expect. But that's just familiarity bias. But this is why 90% of all views on YouTube go to the top 3% of creators. It is because of familiarity bias. When people watch those videos, they already know it will be well shot, well edited. The other thing they already know, by the way, is that other people have done the work for them to verify that this is a high quality content creator and a high quality video. This is called pre-selection bias. So pre-selection bias and confirmation bias and familiarity bias work in favor of larger content creators. It's not really even about quality at that point. It is an assumption about quality, but that's also like assuming that because somebody is rich, has a nice car, nice watch, name brand clothes on, you would assume that they're hardworking and have their life together. They could just be a criminal. So you do have to keep in mind that audiences make assumptions. A lot of you worry way too much about large creators. If they're familiar with someone, yes, there's familiarity bias. If they are known to be a famous entity, there's pre-selection bias. You would deal with that in real life in the fact that you're probably not a bigger priority than someone's friends, family, coworkers, acquaintances, significant other in terms of the value of competing for attention. So you already know that if that's the case, you have to work harder than those people to overcome those familiarity biases. You also know that if someone has symbols of status, somebody is taller than you, somebody is prettier than you, somebody has name brands, somebody pulled up in a nice car, someone had an entourage, you know for a fact that you would have to work harder to get attention away from that person, or you would have to specifically target people that they are going to ignore or they are going to ignore them. So do understand, yes, there is somewhat of a unfair advantage that a larger creator might have. Quality does not decide the fate of a video. There are plenty of you who have seen lower quality videos beat you on views. There is an X factor that is different for views. And as we said, views are dictated not by quality. Views are dictated by value for the viewer. Everyone can compete on topic, title, thumbnail, and timing. Commentary channels get more views than they have subscribers all the time. Commentary channels grow fast in YouTube and win all the time and are able to get views bigger than they have subscribers, and they're able to get new viewers. And in general, subscribers do not algorithmically matter. When we say subscribers don't matter, we're talking about the algorithm. Subscribers matter for status. Subscribers matter for unlocking features in YouTube. Subscribers matter for filtering with brand deals. Subscribers matter to get you bigger collaborations. Subscribers do matter. they don't decide views, and they don't affect the algorithm. So when anyone, myself included, says subscribers don't matter, you all need to stop hearing us in the wrong way. You're hearing it wrong. When we say subscribers don't matter, we say they don't matter to the algorithm and they do not decide how many views you get. They do not. Bigger channels are not getting more views from their subscribers. 80% of their views are people not subscribed to them. That's why they keep on growing. That's why they keep growing. What is happening is there is a such thing as familiarity bias and pre-selection bias happening for those people. That's also a phenomenon that happens in real life. So, what we have to do is stop worrying as much. It's not that quality doesn't matter. Quality turns a viewer into a subscriber. Quality can also sometimes help you when it comes to asking for more money in a brand deal negotiation. So understand, quality turns viewers into subscribers, and it turns views into money when it comes to brand deals. So quality does matter. Quality makes you money, and quality gets you subscribers. So do keep that in mind. Do keep that in mind. But there's no point in worrying about the quality of your content if the packaging and value is wrong. Quality content that you make for an audience that doesn't exist, or quality content you make when you got the audience's preferences, biases, and objections wrong, is not going to help you. A high quality video that makes your audience angry at you didn't do you any favors. A high quality video that disappointed your audience because you had a bad take doesn't do you any favors. A high quality video that's too controversial and gets you canceled doesn't do you any favors. So quality is being overvalued in the YouTube community at the expense of understanding the audience's value, what they value, what the viewer values most based on their preferences and biases. So that's what you have to think about. You really do. And so when we want to predict viewer satisfaction, we have to know how to win their attention. A high quality video with a bad thumbnail won't necessarily work because we failed to win their attention in the first place. We also have to add value because we want these viewers coming back. We want these viewers sharing the content. We want them engaging with it. We want them to watch more videos from us of a similar value proposition. So we have to make that clear. Timing and pacing. We want retention and watch time. We got to have good timing. We got to have good pacing. We want clarity in communication. No one wants to show up for a bad communication in a video. No one wants to sit there and watch you struggle with your words. Sorry, it's just the truth. You have to become a good communicator. You have to become a good public speaker. So that's important. You also want to hook people with moments. Memorable moments make it more likely that your videos will be shared. It makes it also more likely that your videos will be rewatched and have replay value instead of being a one and done for the viewer. So these are important things to understand. And if you do these things well, you can predict viewer satisfaction. You can say there's a good reason for somebody to watch these videos and to enjoy these videos when you get these things right. So that's why we have the watch framework: win attention, add value, timing and pacing, clarity, and hook with moments. That is the watch framework. That is something we teach our creators in Awesome Creator Academy. This helps turn viewers into subscribers. This turns new viewers into returning viewers. And that's important. So we have talked about audience avatar before, and we talked about in week 1. Because some of you are completely new to Workshop Wednesdays and you haven't been through our workshops before, you haven't gone through any of the trainings with us before, we want to introduce this idea of audience avatars. You need to understand who the audience, who the customer is, and why they are a member of your target audience, and who they, what represents them well, so that you can better serve them with your content. So what are their preferences? What are things that they like and dislike? What is it that makes them very excited, and what gives them the ick? What makes them uninterested? What turns them on? What turns them off? You need to know that. What are challenges that are unique to your audience that help inform some of their biases or inform some of those preferences? What are specific things that they might go through that you can speak to specifically? I'll give you a primary example. I know that most of you watching this have a very specific challenge. You're a working class content creator. You work 40 hours a week. You make content with the scraps of energy you have left. You have a limit of 10 to 20 hours max that you can put into this. When you come home after 40 to 50 hours a week at a job, you still have adulting to do. You still have adult responsibilities. Some of you have families, some of you have kids, some of you have significant others. And all of those things compete with how much time and energy and resources you're allowed to even put into your content creation. Those are unique challenges that I know you as an audience member have. You have limited time freedom. You don't have a lot of money to invest in your resources in most cases, not all of you, but most of you. You also don't have extra help with your content. You don't have extra manpower. You don't have people that will hold a camera for you. You don't have people that will take a headshot for you. You don't have people to even help you sometimes with feedback on your content. And then you don't have experience. You don't know where to start with your content creation. You don't have expertise in something, or you don't feel like you do. You don't feel like you're an expert, so you can't speak to anything. Those are all challenges I know most of you have. So that means I understand my audience better than most people because I understand your challenges. I also understand a lot of your preferences. I understand your preference for good audio. I understand your preference for thoughtful, intelligent videos, good communication, and someone who's clear and says what they mean. So I understand that you guys have preferences that help decide that. And a lot of you also don't like over edited content. You hate the hyper retention editing style. You guys do not like that. You guys do not love Mr. Beast videos. You really are not fans of that style of editing. So that's a preference that you have. Demographics. I understand that most of you here are over 25 years old. In fact, I would argue that most of you are over 30 to 55 years old. That would be the demographic. So I understand that that's the case. Most of you are located in the United States of America. Psychographics. Psychographics inform a lot of those preferences, biases, interest, things that a lot of you would care about. And it also is just a deeper dive. So when you think about the psychology of your audience, you're really getting into their head and you're thinking a lot about what their lifestyle looks like. And I know a lot of you here, a lot of you are tech enthusiasts, but not necessarily tech experts. You like gadgets, but you haven't mastered them. A lot of you also can be overwhelmed by technology and things that are more complicated because you've already taken up most of your emotional bandwidth at work already or by your family. So you want things that are simple and you want things that are easy to understand. You also don't like when people talk down to you or talk over your head. I understand these things because I understand my audience. I know who I'm talking to, and therefore I know how to please the audience and I know how to attract the audience. It's your goal and it is your priority. And something you need to do is you need to understand your audience the way I understand the majority of you. You need to understand your audience that deeply. And it's very important that you understand these things and make them a priority and write them down somewhere. So, the concept of an audience avatar is something we're going to refer to and reference throughout our workshop today, but also over the next 12 weeks of our 12-week workshops. This is week 2. So remember, you can download these slides to have these as references for you. We also talk a lot about this in our free Creator Foundations course. The moderators will link that in the chat. We also have it in the description, I believe. So make sure you're checking that out. But you can also reference these slides as well. And we have links for that. So we talk about viewer psychology and triggers a lot. You will often hear me refer to the 5 C's of clickbait psychology. There is more to triggers than this, much, much more. And we will talk about that more when we talk about titles in our title workshop. But when it comes to psychological triggers, for most of the videos on YouTube that get a significant amount of views, we found a pattern. We haven't released this case study just yet. not publicly, but we've done a case study where we've compiled 1,000 plus YouTube videos across various different niches, and we found videos with over 10 million views in the last 2 years. And we found that the overwhelming majority of them have at least one or more of these triggers associated with their title and their topic selection and their themes. So, in terms of videos across multiple niches of YouTube that did over 10 million views, which is not our target, we're just using this to make a point because we know all of you care about views. So, we want to make a point, and we know that the higher the views are, the clearer our point is. We also know the more videos in a case study, the more you guys understand this. And we found that among them, these were the 5 primary psychological triggers: curiosity, conspiracy, conflict, controversy, and confusion were the primary triggers that we were able to find across these videos and what they had in common. And so these are things that draw a reaction from the overwhelming majority of people. And understanding how to incorporate these and derive powerful trigger keywords that you can incorporate into your titles will be very important for you when you're trying to get people to make your videos a priority over another person's video. Even when you cover the same topic, the effectiveness of a video can come down to how these psychological triggers are incorporated in the title and incorporated in the thumbnail. Now, that doesn't mean these videos have to be implicitly negative. These do not have to be negative videos. They tend to be, but they aren't always. A good example of this is Mark Rober's videos do use this technique. Mark Rober's videos use these technique, and Mark Rober doesn't make negative videos. Veritasium uses these in a lot of his scientific videos from time to time. And there are several other creators who do this as well. Kurt's Gazette is a video essay channel that has used these things successfully in their videos. So not every single video that uses these is inherently negative. And remember, confusion as a psychological trigger could just mean people are confused about this and they want to understand something better. So that can also do it. And confusion is different than pure curiosity in a way. You could think of videos that effectively trigger curiosity as many of them being, this is too weird to be true, but I have to see what it is. You could think of it as Ripley's Believe It or Not, for example. Confusion could be, hey, I don't understand how something works. Can you tell me how this thing works? For example, it would be possible for someone right now to get 1 million views on a video explaining tariffs because a lot of people are confused by it. So that would be something that could do that. Controversy doesn't always have to be a hot topic or a gossip video. It could also be a old controversy that people still are very emotionally attached to, or it could be a very interesting story about a controversial or polarizing figure. An example of this is the new Stan Lee documentary coming out that basically covers Stan Lee's final years and the potential for elder abuse that might have happened during that time. While that is technically negative, it's just an example of the fact that controversy can draw people in, even when it's not a new trending topic. Whenever someone thinks about controversy, they think about a trending topic where someone's being canceled. It could be a controversy where there's unresolved feelings around a beloved public figure, like Stan Lee, for example, or Steve Jobs. So keep this in mind, and keep in mind that these are ways that people use psychology in order to hook you and to draw you in when it comes to getting views with their titles and their thumbnails, or even the topic selection itself. So now I want to teach you about the focus framework. The focus framework really is to make sure that your topic choices aren't working against you. So let's start with fit, aligning topics with our audience's interest and goals. Making sure that this is something that our audience genuinely cares about is really important. Outliers, standing out by choosing less obvious but compelling ideas, and also validating and qualifying those ideas. Context, relevancy to the current viewer's challenges or desires. Uniqueness, your own unique angle and approach. Make it specific, narrow down for clarity and precision. So this is the focus framework. I like this because if you put it into the context of your audience avatar, it works really well. Everyone can have a personal finance channel, but are there people who might win better if they have a personal finance channel that decided it was going to focus on the audience avatar of personal finance, targeting people who feel left behind in life? That would do very well. Or a financially based channel that specifically speaks to people who are receiving Social Security and government benefits. That would be a very specific focus. So that'd be specific. It fit to a specific audience avatar. It has its own context, so on and so forth. That'd be a channel. So a good example of this even is you have one of my students who I worked with during the pandemic, who I coached one-on-one. Steve Ram. Steve Ram does a finance channel that also mixes a little bit of politics in it, but it relates to how do these politics affect and hurt your wallet. He started with stimulus content. We built a format for him to capitalize off of that because regular personal finance videos weren't cutting it. So we made that. With the success of that and knowing that at some point the stimulus checks had to end, I encouraged him to say, look into, since you break down what's going to happen with the stimulus check so well, start breaking down what's going to happen with Social Security benefits. Start breaking down what's going to happen with student loan forgiveness and explain that to people. Start breaking down what's going to happen with disability. Start breaking these things down. Then it became start breaking down what's going to happen with different tax incentives and tax cuts, and so on and so forth. So he ended up being able to grow to hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I think we worked together when we had 4,000 subscribers or less. And Steve Ram was able to um, start aligning topics that were based on the fact that his audience were people who had anxiety financially about how the government's choices were going to affect their money. So that was the audience that he was aligning to, and he found his fit. In terms of outliers, he was able to find compelling and less obvious ideas in the realm of finance videos that meant he wouldn't have to compete with the likes of Graham Stephan and Andre Geek and Meet Kevin. And then context, what was relevant to his viewers' challenges were a unique challenge in the moment. How is your money affected by government policy, and how can you better understand that? And that's the unique angle and unique approach they brought to it as someone who's able to communicate clearly and break things down. And so he also was very specific. He narrowed down for clarity and precision. And so the focus framework is going to allow you to make sure that your content resonates with your audience in a deep and meaningful way. And so I think this can be incredibly useful for a lot more of you who are struggling with your ideas. You'd be surprised. Focus brings clarity. So, in terms of brainstorming and coming up with ideas, there are a lot of different ones. And so, there are four brainstorming techniques that we can use here for those of you who struggle. So, in terms of the ideation process, a lot of times I like to help my audience focus on content pillars, and we basically do research and use the audience avatar to try to develop these. And we will personally, even in our one-on-one calls, a lot of times we will workshop these. Sometimes in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, people will pitch ideas or they'll post them to the group and try to get feedback. But it really comes down to the fact that we can look at our audience avatar and then we could try to reverse engineer the psychology around their primal desires or their primal fears, and then speak to that in content and develop our content pillars around that and derive our topics. So that's one way that we could do it. If we already have successful content, we can use our existing content as inspiration and we can repurpose that content. We can also look to the comments and questions from our community and we can get content from that. I have developed most of my content off of what's either already been successful on the channel or looking for things in the community in terms of questions you all have and that I keep getting and saying, okay, that'd probably make for good content. So that is another method. Another one is a content gap analysis, identifying gaps in what is it my competitors aren't doing and what does their audience wish they would do, or where is the area my competitor is lacking. Another one is sometimes realizing that there is new information that is needed but is not being covered in the niche. Primary example is I feel there's more information that needs to come out around YouTube monetization because of the new 2025 YouTube monetization changes. So I'm going to be making an update video on the new YouTube monetization changes and how you deal with that. There's not an existing good tutorial around putting in ad breaks and putting in mid-roll ads into your content that takes the new policy into consideration. So that's an example. You can also, again, leverage your competitors' failures or successes. Is there something that they did that turned the audience off? Okay, I won't do that. So I will not make their same mistake. The other thing is, oh, is there a video they did that was successful? Okay, can I capitalize on that? Not only just making a sequel to that, but is there an area where I can build off of that or something they didn't address or something they didn't cover? Or have they not made a video that's relevant to today on that successful video they did? Is there an outdated video that my competitors did successfully but is outdated that needs a refresh for today? So why would I not make that video? So that becomes important. And then finally, for brainstorming, we have audience-driven content. You can be running polls in your YouTube community tab. You can do surveys. You can speak directly to your audience on other platforms. You also can try to mine audience insights from not only your comments, but other people's comments, and also from live streams. So that is something that I think is a undervalued one. But again, for a lot of you, the big problem is you don't feel your audience is big enough or active enough to do the audience driven one. So your best bet, you also may not be experienced enough to have existing content of your own that is successful. So your best bet, if you don't have an existing audience or a lot of existing content that has been successful and proven, look for and identify gaps through competitor analysis and also try to brainstorm and mind map around your audience avatar and looking to the broader community around the content that you want to make. Analyzing trends. Trend jacking can be very powerful and timing matters. We talked about qualifying topics with the focus framework. We talked about the watch framework. So what about the RISE framework? We have a RISE framework here, and RISE stands for recent, in-season, sustained, and engaged trends. So recent content. Can you capitalize on timely topics, trending news? What about things that are in season? There are seasonal trends. There could be new seasons of video. If you do TV show reviews, you know when a new season is coming out of something. You know that there might be holiday specials. If you're in tech, it's around product releases. Gaming, it's around product releases, etc., etc. So there's things that become in season to do. Then there's sustained content. This is evergreen content that can provide ongoing views. You could think of this as timeless content. And then there's engaging in trends. There's quick action to capitalize on rising trends. And so this is more looking at reaction videos, sentiment, things of that nature. So this framework helps you understand timing a lot better. It seems simpler than it actually is. So there's recency bias. Making a video, even a video that is off of your previous successes. Let's say, I mean, for me, for example, there are videos that I will do every year because the audience has a recency bias toward they still care about that topic. But even if I made that video a year ago, they would prefer a video that still feels relevant today. So they have recency bias. There's also things that are seasonal that you can do all the time. Me and a lot of people will do videos on tech gear around Black Friday every single year because that's a seasonal event. We will do a Black Friday live stream because it's a seasonal event. So that matters. Sustain and evergreen. That's a lot of the content we try to do on the channel. Even the workshops are evergreen content. So there is that. Engaging in trends. That is rapid responses to content. That could even be reaction videos for some of you. Could be commentary. So those are just examples of how you can leverage timing. Now, we're wrapping up here. Sustainable systems, creating sustainable systems for your topic research. And then we're going to go into some Q&A in this workshop to answer some more of your questions around this. Make sure you're liking the video, by the way. That does help me out. Now, when it comes to creating sustainable systems, there's a couple of things you need to do. Building your research system, optimizing and storing your ideas, creating an idea bank. And then if you can, you want to optimize this for efficiency sometimes with automations. I've been using ChatGPT a lot to help me clarify some things. I'm also going to start trying to use automation for this more. But a good thing that you could do is make sure that you're taking the time to brainstorm your ideas and that you create a routine for this. Maybe it's a whiteboarding session. Maybe you get together with some friends in a Discord server and you go back and forth and you make sure that you are creating an environment where you can actually stimulate your brain to do ideation. So that could be something that you could prioritize a lot more. The other thing is you could start systematizing how you source your topics. How are you um, doing your research? Is there a tool that you're using like one of 10? Are you putting things into a spreadsheet? Are you keeping this organized? How are you keeping track of your competitor analysis and research? One of the good things with one of 10 is that you could be creating a gallery of these thumbnails for inspiration, for example. So that's something you want to think about. Organizing and storing your ideas, creating a content bank and an idea vault, and having that in Google Sheets. I use Apple Notes because it's easier for me to do that and to do voice dictation. So creating an idea bank. If you have good ideas, write them down right away. You will lose them if you don't. So I use Apple Notes because I can just use voice dictation. And I can say the idea out loud and capture it. So that's something that I look at. Um, and I'll answer some of the questions for the chat here once we wrap up with the final presentation here. Tools and templates for efficient idea capture. Again, for my case, because I like saying it out loud with it, I like doing it in Apple Notes and then capturing the transcripts of my ideas. I also use Apple Voice Memos for the same thing. So I like not only getting my ideas out, but also why did I have that idea? So I like to do that. And for again, a lot of you, I would say make sure you're capturing that. If you're at work, write it down in your Apple Notes, put it in a Google Doc, just do something. And then automation for efficiency and hacks. There are several hacks that I do using ChatGPT. I actually have something that might be helpful to a lot of you. We're going to link it here in the chat, but I have a $9 product called Creator Prompts where we came up with 200 prompts for ChatGPT. That help creators with their efficiency. So ChatGPT creator prompts, we have that here. So make sure you're checking that out. It's $9 and you get 200 prompts, and this can really help you when it comes to efficiency, even with organizing your ideas, even with simple tasks like making your titles shorter or optimizing your titles for a third or fifth grade reading level. So those are things that can be incredibly useful to you. And like I said, we gave you over 200 prompts, $9. There's no way to not get value from this. And so that should be incredibly helpful to the far majority of you if you don't know how to properly utilize ChatGPT. There are also some advanced prompts in here. So we just want you to have that because it can make you more efficient. So make sure you're checking that out. We've linked it here in the chat. We're going to make sure that this is added to the description as well. Get 200 plus chat GPT creator prompts. So we'll add that here to the description of the video, and we'll make sure you guys have that in the chat. Yep, we pride ourselves on efficiency. Absolutely. So that's it for the presentation on today's Wednesday workshop. We're going to move to Q&A with the chat now. So I'm going to bring up the chat, and we're going to take some of your questions here and try to see what we can do about answering them. So let's go ahead and pop over to camera 2 here. All right. So Terry W says, any advice on competitor research to identify a gap in a niche? Most channels focus on the science of project management versus the real world. I'm focused on transferring PMs, project managers, from order takers to leaders. I love this question. Let me ask you something, Terry W. There are several ways to take advantage of gaps in the market, and not all of it is only in packaging, but in presentation as well. When people do advice about project management, are they just sit down talking head videos? Are they tutorial screen sharing videos? Has anyone done IRL content where they actually take you behind the scenes and show you the interactions in a company and how people lead teams and talk to you and do a in real life video that feels like those after school specials in a way where they like walk and talk and they present, and then they also show you a real world interaction and there's role play involved, and so people get to see what the experience is anyone in your niche going hard on the production value and presentation value of that content in project management? Is anybody even doing that? See, that would be something that would make you stand out. That goes back to something we talked about earlier with regard to hooking people with moments. And the moment they realize this is not a typical video that I'm watching, this is being done differently than what I'm used to when I click on these videos, that immediately is enticing, and it's a different value proposition now because it's more unique. So that could matter when it comes to upping your game. So, Terry, if you're still in the chat, let us know if anybody in the project management niche is going hard and doing production with IRL reality TV style content for this and making the equivalent of like the after school special where they walk and talk and then they show you behind the scenes of something, and there may be some scripted role play acting out the scenario that someone's going to encounter on the job. If no one's doing that, maybe you should be, because it would immediately stand out to anyone watching that content. And they would know for a fact that your competitors aren't doing it. It also is something that is what we call high effort content, which is how we start to get into making sure that we stand out from our competitors and that it's harder to duplicate our content. So when we start doing things like that, it becomes hard to duplicate our content. It becomes easier for us to stand out. And then at a certain point, if we keep doing things in a direction where it's high effort to everyone else, but we've normalized that high effort to where it's not as difficult of a stretch for us. Well, after a while of doing that, we stop having competitors because we become the market leader. Subject for another day, though. So hopefully, Terry W, that helps you out. So Pizzles asks Roberto, if you're under 10,000, what exactly would you charge for a sponsorship or video integration? If I was under 10,000 and I also am still asking what to charge and I haven't made some formal package on my own around something like what I teach is the deal framework, deliverables, exclusivity, amplification, licensing. If I'm not pricing based on those four levers yet, because I don't feel I'm in a strong enough position for whatever reason to do so, which I would argue you still could, then the truth is, in a situation where you're under 10,000, This may not be the answer any of you want to hear, and it may not satisfy you. Other people, other coaches may even disagree with this. If you're under 10,000 subscribers in YouTube and you don't know what to charge, just ask the brand what the budget they have is. And then it's either a hell yes or a hell no, or you negotiate by adding value through the deal method. You use the deals framework. The deal framework is deliverables, exclusivity, amplification, licensing. If you don't like the budget that they gave you, offer more deliverables and see if that moves the needle on budget. Offer to be exclusive and not work with 5 competitors of their choice for the next 90 days and see if that moves the needle and there's all of a sudden magically more budget. Offer amplification across your other social media platforms and see if that magically changes the budget. Offer licensing to them to use your likeness and the material and maybe some of your B-roll in any of their advertising any way that they would like to for either 90 days or 6 months and see if that magically shifts the budget. The deal framework. This is something we teach in Awesome Creator Academy. This is something I do with my one-on-one coaching clients. This is something that will be in our Brand Deal Secrets course, which we will be releasing later this year. We're also going to do some pre-order for that. That's going to include a workshop with probably 50 seats when we get ready to do that. There will be more details on that at another time. But this is how you actually approach. If you're a small YouTuber, I've done videos on what to do as a small YouTuber when it comes to brand deals. But if you're really hard up on, you don't know what to charge, you don't know how to justify it, and you're not a business person, you don't like negotiating, you're used to, for lack of a better word, and not to be condescending, if you're in an employee mindset most of the time where you're just not used to a situation where you have to haggle for money or figure out how to communicate your own value and demand your own value, most of you, as unsatisfying emotionally as this might be, your best answer is just to ask them what the budget is and what they're willing to pay, because that's the situation most of you are used to, is somebody tells you what they're going to pay you, and then it's either a hell yeah or a hell no. If you are ready to at least start the negotiation from a place of less anxiety by asking them up front what they're willing to pay, then you can move the needle by using the 4 levers that I just gave you: deliverables, exclusivity, amplification, and licensing. So that'd be the answer. Do you recommend Claude or do you suggest ChatGPT? Claude is actually very good. Claude is often very good when it comes to also specifically helping you with research and writing segments of your scripts, your marketing copy, or even helping you with your pitches or outreach to brands. So that can be actually very helpful to you. What I would recommend is, depending on your style, you try Claude, Grok if you're on Twitter Premium or X Premium, I should say, or and ChatGPT, and you see which one you feel the most comfortable with based on your communication style. Based on your communication style might dictate which AI tool is better for you. However, you still can use our prompts from Creative Prompts in Claude and in Grok and see if you get results you like better using those tools. Savvy Tech Tip says, but do brands take you seriously if you're small? It depends on the brand and it depends on the market that you're in. And it also depends on if all you have to offer is reach on your own channel, then to be honest, It's not about whether they take you seriously. It's about the fact that you may not have value if you're only offering reach. If you're offering only reach and they have better options, that's the wrong thing to lead with. That's the wrong thing to lead with. That's like knowing that someone's preference is height and you're coming to them as a 5'2". If you know that what they're looking for is something that is not what you are able to deliver on, you are wasting everyone's time. So the question is, are you working with brands that have some other value that they need from you besides reach if you're small? If you're small, why are you even trying to barter or extract any money from the concept of giving reach when you don't have any reach to offer? That's unfair because you're already haggling in bad faith. You're already dealing in bad faith. Brands value more than reach. Some brands, they can buy reach with ads, they can just buy reach. So, what else do brands value? They value people who are proven and capable of driving ROI. Other words, sales and leads. Do you have the ability and capacity to drive sales and leads? So if you don't have a bunch of video reach, do you have a dedicated email list of their exact customer avatar? Do you have a couple thousand emails where you don't have to worry about an algorithm to reach their customer? That's valuable to a brand. Do you have a private group that they can have that you can access where you can promote and market them? That's valuable to a brand. So proven sales. Are you, despite your size, one of their top performing affiliates and converting at high rates with a small size so that you can prove ROI that you have a small audience, but it's a loyal buying audience? It's a small audience with deep pockets. Can you prove that you have a small audience with deep pockets? That's a reason for a brand to take you seriously. If a brand's not taking you seriously, as harsh as it sounds, creators, and this is not for you, Savvy Tech Tips specifically, but it's for creators in general, because I get this question all the time. Stop worrying about whether a brand is going to take you seriously because you're small. Bring big creator energy and show them that you can damn well deliver something worth having. It's your fault if people aren't taking you seriously. You haven't demonstrated value. Bring big creator energy. If you're a small creator and you act like a small creator and you bring small creator energy, why should a brand take you seriously? Why should anyone take you seriously? Bring big creator energy by over delivering in value and demonstrating value up front. If you can do that, then you should be taken seriously. If you can overperform, you know what's the rarest animal on earth? Someone who underpromises and over delivers. The rarest animal on God's green earth is someone who underpromises and over delivers and does that every single time. Big creator energy. Let people underestimate you and then over deliver and then make them embarrassed that they even doubted you. Bring big creator energy and stop with the small creator energy and stop being insecure about your size of audience and figure out how to deliver big value. Small audience, big value. Small audience, deep pockets. Figure that out. If you're not in that position, put yourself in that position. That's your new mission in life. That's the answer that you are looking for. I eventually will have some workshop involving brand deals. But again, for small creators, your answer is you need to demonstrate and deliver value, and it's not negotiable. And it's not for brands to take pity on you or to take you seriously as a small creator. It's for you to bring big creator energy and to show up and show out and over deliver and to be worth it and to make your value undeniable. Small audience with big pockets wins. So that's one. So instead of reach, offer ROI and prove it. Prove ROI. You know what the smallest audience in the world is? Do you know what the smallest audience in the world is? The smallest audience in the world is people with thousands upon thousands of dollars of disposable income. Do you realize that if your YouTube channel, if your YouTube channel only was people who have massive amounts of disposable income and can do $10,000 purchases without a second thought and without having to ask their husband or wife about it before they whip out their credit card, do you realize you would have the smallest audience possible on YouTube, but every brand in the world would want to work with you if they knew that's exactly who your audience was? I'm not, again, that doesn't apply to your exact situation, but I'm just using it to illustrate a point. I'm using it to illustrate a point that the smallest audience in the world is the audience worth the most amount of money. So understand that there are other things that brands value rather than just a brand would rather reach 100 people with $1,000 of disposable income than 1 million people that only have $1 to rub together. And it's not close. They would rather have somebody get 10,000 views, but get them 100 leads than get 100,000 views and only get 12 leads. They would absolutely prefer less views and more leads than more views and less leads. You all focus so much on reach and views because that's how YouTube pays you. And you need to understand brands don't care about that, not the way that you do. So, reach is important, sure. ROI, much more important. Here's another one. You can have all the reach in the world, it won't save you from a bad reputation. Or even if it does, they'll haggle you down if you have a bad reputation. Oh, you know what? You get a lot of reach, you make viral videos, but you're a little too controversial. You're a little too spicy. Or hey, we hear you're being canceled right now. I don't think we can do the deal this season because you're getting canceled and we can't associate with you. We can't have the blowback right now. That happens to big creators all the time who have massive reach. There are brands that won't work with them sometimes if they're in the middle of a scandal because they can't take the hit to the reputation no matter how much reach they would get. It's not worth it for them. They don't want the PR nightmare. So a good reputation matters. Here's another one. If you're worried about your views and your reach, make UGC content for the brand and leverage representation because you represent the buyer. If you represent the buying audience, you have an authentic story or testimonial, you have the right look, the right voice, the right sound, the right story. They need somebody to pose with the product. They need somebody for the billboard. They need somebody to be a spokesperson. They don't want to hire union talent. They're going to get editor, an actor, a spokesperson and a model all for one low price. And now they don't have to hire union talent. They don't have to go to SAG-AFTRA. So all of a sudden, that influencer that's not in the union is really convenient for them and underpriced for UGC content on their Instagram or their TikTok or even their own YouTube channel. Now you can also get into NIL, name, image, likeness, and you can do licensing with them. Now all of a sudden it doesn't matter how big your audience is because they already have a captive audience. What they don't have is content as good as yours. What they don't have is an authentic testimonial. What they don't have is someone who matches the energy of the audience, matches the buyer, relates to the buyer, is relatable. So that relatability and that representation, that's worth something and they'll pay for it. And they'll pay for it because it's also going to be cheaper than hiring union talent. So again, get rid of this small creator energy. Get rid of the small creator energy, bring big creator energy. Think about, you know what? It's not always going to be about reach. Sometimes it's going to be ROI. Can I prove ROI? Sometimes it pays to have a really good squeaky clean reputation. How can I do that? Does my reputation add status to the brand? Does my reputation, is that leverage? Is that status that I can offer? If you have a small audience, but you're a doctor, your reputation is worth something. If you have a small audience, but you're a lawyer, your reputation is worth something. If you have a small audience, but you're a 20-year Sony shooter, then that means something. If you have a small audience, but you're a best-selling author or you are a record holder or an award winner, that means something. Audience size isn't everything. There are other things that brands value. There are other things that people value. Reputation is one of them. ROI is another. And representation is another one. Represent the buyer. People want to hear from an actual user and an actual customer, not a paid actor from the union. So think about it. There's a lot more you can offer if you just bring big creator energy. So Dex Not Dexter says, what about sourcing viral topics from Twitter and Reddit? That is where I got a lot of topics, but not sure if it's a tool out there for finding topics there before they land on YouTube. You'll have to do that manually. It is a good idea. It's definitely a good idea, but you'll have to do it manually. To my knowledge, there's not a tool that does that from Twitter and Reddit, at least not yet. So I would definitely look into doing that manually. So that's something you need to think about is there are other places you can source, but this is actually a really good idea for a lot of you is if you can find a topic that has a lot of energy behind it in Reddit or Twitter, it proves and can validate your ideas. And you can then double check that and see if there's a YouTube video out there that has referenced something similar. If there isn't, don't take that as a bad sign. Maybe you can be earlier first to market, and first mover advantage or early mover advantage could be something that benefits you. So Pizzle says, I might have to educate myself on some of these tactics. Every time I ask for a budget, the number is zero. Here's the thing, target different brands. I teach this in my brand deals workshop, which we sell the replays of it over at Awesome Creator Academy. We teach this in the brand deals starter kit, which you can get with media kits, templates, email pitch decks, all this stuff. We sell that for $99 right now. So you can check that out. I think we have it linked in the description. If we don't, mods, can you get the link to the brand deal starter kit in the chat for people who want to learn more about brand deals? One of the bigger important things I will say about this with brand deals is target brands that you know already pay creators in your niche and already have a budget and work with creators in your niche. Talk to the creators in your niche behind the scenes about what it's like to work with these brands. Are these people good? Can they make an intro to these people for you? Or who should you reach out to? Do you feel like they ask another creator, hey, what's it like? Hey, I hear you're working with so and so and everything. Are they a good company? Did they treat you right? If you ask and you lead with that question, most creators are happy to tell you and vent about their experience, good or bad, of working with a company. And they'll go, oh, yeah, like, Taylor was amazing to work with. And, the company was really good to me. And she really fought to make sure that I was comfortable and got a good deal. Like, people will either like to big up people that were good to them professionally, or they'll tell you, oh, God, Jason was a nightmare to work with. The company was late on payments. They told me they'd pay me in 30 days. I didn't get it until almost 60 days. There was all this drama. Oh my God. It's like, well, at least they pay really well, but man, were they a nightmare to work with. But for that amount of money, I guess I'll put up with it. They'll tell you the horror stories or they will tell you the good things. You have to talk to other creators in your niche. A lot of you are so scared and so precious about your ideas and so worried about other people stealing your ideas that you cut yourself off from the value of talking to other creators. One of the reasons that I did end up starting the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group, because I stupidly grew myself from 0 to 100,000 subscribers by myself in isolation, not talking to other creators, not asking for advice, not asking for feedback, not getting constructive criticism, not getting advice on, oh, companies I shouldn't work with, getting screwed over by companies because I didn't know to stay away from those people. And there are people who could have told me to stay away from them. But I was in isolation mode. I was head down, didn't think other people would help me, didn't think other people would respect me unless I had a bigger audience. That was me having small creator energy. I can criticize myself, I can say it. So I was insecure when I was a small creator too. This is years and years ago. And when I realized the community is much more thoughtful and welcoming, and that there are a lot of good people, great people in the creator community, and I opened up and got out of my shell more and was less insecure. I went to VidCon. I met so many people. So many people were nice to me. Um, it got me really to understand the value of community. And then I had regrets about just going all in on myself and never asking for advice or asking for help. And so when my turn came, I built a community with the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group and the founding members. And it was mostly so that we could have a place where we could feel confident and secure to talk to each other and open up about a lot of these experiences. And yes, it was important to have title and thumbnail feedback, but it was also important to have transparency and honesty with each other about brand deals and about companies we worked with and what our experiences were. and to be able to warn each other about things to look out for and to come up with red flags. And that's why I built in the starter kit, I built a list of red flags in working with brands. And then I also wrote reviews in there for agencies and media companies that work with creators and brands. And so I was able to give advice around that, talk about pricing, all these things. And so one of the things I'll tell you is talk to other creators and find creators in your niche that got paid by brands, talk to them more, but also Pizzles, start only targeting brands. And this is for the rest of you as well. Start targeting brands that actually pay creators, and that will help with the budget problems. That will absolutely help with the budget problems if you target specifically brands that are already paying creators, because they can't pretend that they don't have any money. So that's something that's important to do. One of the other things is if you are in working as an affiliate for a brand that has an affiliate program, they'll find budget for someone who's already creating value and driving sales. You also could be talking to the wrong person in the wrong department when you're asking for budget as well. So keep that in mind. So let's see. Yes, negotiating is a valuable skill. It's one of the most important ones. Yeah, Terry. So since none of your competitors are doing the IRL format that we talked about in project management, that would be a calling card. That'd be a signature piece of content, and it's hard for your competitors to duplicate. So, Rashane asks, as a small creator, how do you find brands in your niche that need UGC content, user generated content for their Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms? Great question. If you are looking at their Instagram and TikTok content and you know bloody well that your content is far better than theirs, that's a good start. The other thing is to position yourself for that opportunity by making sure your content is better than the UGC, not the UGC, the in-house content. Make sure your content is better than the in-house content of the brands you want to work with. If you want to know what quality is and standards and why quality and standards matter, even if you can get views with low quality content, start raising your quality standard, not only to the peers in your niche, but to the brands in your niche so that you can more easily negotiate getting paid to make better content than them and that they know you make better content than them. That's where a lot of us content creators do move our production values and move the needle on. Even with me with my live streams and my workshops tell any brand in the SaaS space for software as a service. It tells everybody with Adobe, Kajabi, all of these different brands. It tells them that I can do a webinar that's as good or better than theirs. Same thing with my slideshows, and that you can pay me to be equal or better than any host you've ever had to teach a masterclass on a topic. So when I want to work with software companies, they can see the quality of my live streams and my webinars is equal to or better than theirs, and it matters. So quality is important in that regard. So that's where stepping things up can be. Same thing when it comes to these UGC brand deals, these user generated content brand deals, is look at the standards that the brand has for their paid marketing and paid advertising efforts. Make your stuff better than theirs. The other thing you do is you put together a media kit and you pitch them. Now, one of the things we sell in the brand deal starter kit is we have 3 different media kit templates. We'll probably add updates to those and you can get lifetime updates on that. We'll probably do more updates to that. And then you can use our media kit templates, open up the Photoshop files. If you don't have Photoshop, Adobe Express is free and opens up any Photoshop file and you can edit it. So we have these editable templates. You can make your own media kit from those, and then you can pitch all of your brands. And so that's going to be helpful. 99% of content creators don't use media kits. So when you pitch one, you stand out to brands and you become more professional. That also is a good indicator that if you're doing that effort just to pitch them and talk to them, that maybe you're worth more money than someone who doesn't. So there are all kinds of things you can use to elevate the perception of your value and also to increase your status. Those give you opportunities. So there are other ways to increase your status besides your audience size and subscriber count. You want to do things that can enhance your status and your reputation and use those things as leverage to negotiate stronger. You also want to represent and demonstrate your value by saying, I'm smaller than these people, but my quality of content is better than theirs. I'm smaller than these people, but my editing is better than theirs. My green screen videos show. I was just talking to a brand, and the brand was blown away and impressed with my green screen video. And they see the value in it because even though that video has 10,000 views, it's 10,000 views that are exactly and only for their customer. It's 10,000 views and it's a recent video, and they see that it has not slowed down momentum and that it gets about 300 new views every day, which means it's going to end up like my green screen video, and it's going to end up being over a 100,000 view video. My green screen video about doing green screen tutorials, which was also done on a green screen, I did that like 2 years ago. It's over 250,000 views. It only got 1,000 views its first day, and then it got like 50 views its second day. It trickled and trickled until it was getting 500 views a day or whatever, 200 to 500 views a day, and it kept doing that forever. And it keeps going and going and going. There are videos like that sometimes that I will make that are higher quality and that are very, very targeted, and they don't get views right away. But I'm also using them as part of my portfolio showcase to show brands in the software niche, in software as a service, SaaS. I'm showing brands what I'm capable of and that my content looks better than theirs and looks better than most of the content they've paid other creators for. Using that gives me an advantage, and it doesn't matter how many views I get then. What matters is the quality and that they want that quality because it's better than what their marketing is doing. So putting myself in that position is something that gives me leverage, regardless of subscribers, regardless of views, regardless of anything. So those are things that can help you. Another thing that can help you, we talked about amplification, growing your other platforms and then bundling the offer can help you with the amplification. Growing an email list can help you with amplification. Email list is a non-algorithm permissionless access to a customer. That is something that can be done to help you negotiate with brands, even if you're small. The value of an email list, your size of audience for email list could be much more valuable than the size of audience for viewers on a channel because of the non-algorithm based access. These are all things that are really important. And this is what we teach in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro group with our training. We have over 100 hours of training content that you get access to. This is what we teach in the Brand Deals Starter Kit. This is what's coming in my Brand Deals course. This is what we do in the one-on-one trainings. It is important to understand the business side of being a content creator and how much negotiating matters. Understand that quality isn't just about getting views and subscribers. It's about using it as a body of work and portfolio to get value in terms of being able to work as a content producer for either brands or even other content creators and being able to make money that way. If you guys do good enough on UGC content, you might be able to churn around short form UGC content at $300 a pop on content that takes you 2 hours to make, which is insane. And if you were able to create enough bulk demand for it or start a UGC agency, you could be doing and fulfilling 5 orders a week and making $1,000 to $2,000 a week just doing UGC, even if you don't have a big audience. You could even do UGC primarily because you could be a spokesmodel that fits the look that they need for the brand because you're the kind of person that they would have to hire as union talent to put on an ad or a billboard anyway. And you guys don't seem to know about those kind of rates. I have a friend, one of my best friends actually. He's a working actor and he also does some model work. They used him in a print campaign. He was there for 2 hours for the photo shoot. They paid him $800 for the day. You guys are afraid to charge $800 to stand in a video, write the script, deliver an ad read, make quality content, edit the quality content, and distribute it on a platform. You guys are afraid to charge $800 for that, or you're taking those rejections lying down. Meanwhile, someone who just has the right look to be in a print ad gets $800 for 2 hours of work, doesn't have to have an audience, doesn't have to distribute jack, and doesn't have to edit anything. Stand there and look pretty for the camera. 2 hours, $800. But you guys wouldn't know about that. Now, remember, keep in mind, I worked as a freelance photographer, and I worked with people in the entertainment industry. And so I understand that there are people out there getting day rates and per diem rates for certain things if they have to do multiple day shoots. People do industrials where sometimes they'll do an ad that's not for the public's consumption, but it's just a media tool in the industry itself. And they might get $2,000. They might get $2,000 to do about 5-10 hours of work doing an industrial and doing some shoots where it's an internal training manual or something like that for the company, or an internal pitch for their industry, something of that nature. And these things never even see the light of day. They're not for public advertising, but they need a model that can, or an actor that can do it and play the role. And it's for marketing purposes or for internal training purposes. There are opportunities for a lot of you to make money that have nothing to do with your audience size. It's the YouTube ad revenue and the YouTube partner program that conditions creators, and TikTok as well, and TikTok and Twitch, that conditions all of you to believe that your value is your views and your follower count. You have no idea what you're worth because the platforms have conditioned you to believe in being paid just for the views that you get instead of the value that you create. I'm trying to teach creators to do something very differently. And it's what the rest of the industry does outside of the creators. So Hillary Merrick is saying, don't sleep on LinkedIn. I book several UGC ads a week just from searching and applying on there. Plus, it's free. Yes, LinkedIn does have job boards and opportunities. And if you were searching for that and searching for UGC, then yeah, there's opportunities that are abundant there, and there's no competition, or there's very little of it. Absolutely. Another thing is Instagram also now has a built-in UGC marketplace in the monetization section of the app as well. There's also voiceover opportunities for a lot of you, especially if you're a faceless content creator. Voiceover opportunities are also abundant. Um, Savvy Tech Tip says, Roberto, what's your go-to merch store? The two that I've used everything. I want to make a comprehensive guide to creator merch. Um, I'm working on some comprehensive guide to that, but I've used everything. Most of my merch here you can get from either Spreadshop or Fourth Wall. You can go to robertoblake.com. Sorry, not .com. You can go to robertoblake.store. You can go to robertoblake.store and you can buy my merch. That goes through Fourth Wall, which I believe goes through Printify for the quality aspect of it. But I've used everything, and Spreadshop is great. They might have the best overall shipping, especially for international. I believe they have the best combination of quality and shipping and variety of products. There are some products they don't have the ability for you to make, though. If you wanted to go full custom everything, Shopify, obviously, that integrates with the YouTube marketplace. I've done Spring. Spring, there's some limitations there. Their interface is really good, but there's some limitations there. Um, there's some issues with international shipping, depending on where you're shipping to, in terms of their capabilities. But all of them are credible and all of them are great in their own right. For certain things, if you need licensing, you will make less money, but if you need to use licensed characters, Redbubble has some built-in licensing for that. You'll just make less money. So there's a reason to use different places. Again, I'm putting together at some point a complete guide to creator merch. It's something I'm still working on, but I've tested everything. I bought samples. I bought print samples of everything to test quality. I tracked shipping times. I, tried washing things multiple times. I looked at the variety of products, the quality of products. YouTube integration with the YouTube shopping is a big priority. So the only ones that integrate with YouTube shopping right now are Spring, Spreadshop, Shopify, and Fourth Wall. So those would be the ones that you would want to utilize. Yeah, Fourth Wall is actually really good, and they're newer. Philip DeFranco actually did a stint with them as a creative director and gave them a lot of advice. So I'm not surprised that things turned out well. I've had some chats on X with the founder, and they're a solid company overall. A lot of creators do their stuff through Fourth Wall now. Fourth Wall gives you the look of a Shopify store, but for $0 up front, it's free. So that's why I recommend it. If you go to robertoblake.store, you'll see exactly what you're working with there and what it looks like. Um, I feel like they're pretty good, and I like the way they handle things in general. So let me see if I can show you guys. So wait a minute. Why isn't it working? Hang on. Allow me to share screen. Why is it still sharing the presentation? I guess I have to remove the presentation for it to work. There we go. All right, cool. So, Fourth Wall looks like this. So really, really dope website overall. So for me, it has my merchandise here. They give you the models for your merch. So that's pretty cool. And then they even let you have a thing where you can show recent videos from your channel if you really wanted to. You can obviously link to all of your social medias and so on. So pretty dope. You also can have unique direct links to, whatever you want. So in my case, uh, I link to my podcast, my book, and my YouTube channel. So those are things that I link to there. And then you have like, see all products. So that gives you a sense of, what you're getting here. And it looks, again, the whole interface looks really clean. I like it. So again, you get this quality uh for free with Fourth Wall. So you get Shopify quality in terms of a custom store, but it's $0 up front to make it, unlike Shopify, where I think you have to pay $39 a month. So that's why people like Fourth Wall, is it's really cool. Yep. But yeah, I think we covered most of the questions here from the chat from what I can tell. So from what I can tell, we covered most of the most relevant questions from the chat. I also think a lot of the mods in the chat gave some really good advice. Yeah, I'm working on some merch for Big Creator Energy, by the way. A lot of you have been asking for that. That's the next design drop that I'm working on. Clearly, I need to make a video that specifically and explicitly focuses on everything that I said just now about brand deals for people under 10,000 subscribers. It's probably going to be a no BS advice video, because that's probably the best way to approach that topic. Yeah. Right now, yes, that Larry from Home Rep Repair, that is the correct link for the Discord if people want to participate in the Discord. Um, we're going to eventually change the Discord URL because we rebranded the Discord to call it Creator Foundations, which is also the name of our free course for content creators. And it's because what I want to do with the Discord is I want to turn the Discord basically into a public study hall for serious content creators. One of the biggest problems I see in the creator community is that while there's some value on Reddit, and I post a lot of free value on Reddit in r/new YouTubers and r/ partnered YouTubers. Those are the two subreddits I post to the most. The problem with Reddit, to some degree, even X, is, and even free Facebook groups and free Discords and so on and so forth, is a lot of them. And my Discord server is free right now. The problem with a lot of them is that there's a lot of low hanging fruit. There's a lot of frustrated content creators who all they do is go to an event and complain. There's also a lot of people that are very artsy fartsy. There's nothing wrong with being a hobby creator, but if there are people who specifically are telling you that they want to be a full-time content creator, there is a lot of shaming. You'd be shocked how much shaming happens on Reddit for people who want to be full-time content creators and who want to do content as a job and want to do it for money. It's a bunch of little kids and artsy kids and teenagers who don't have any bills, don't have a mortgage to pay, that want to tell them they shouldn't care about money. And that's just not helpful. It's not productive. And then when it's not that, it's oversaturated with gaming creators who all want to somehow magically polish very crappy Let's Play videos into solid gold bricks to retire off of. And it's just not reasonable. So what I wanted was, aside from Awesome Creator Academy, is there any way to have some free level of community besides my live stream chat for people who want a study hall for content creation? And is there a convenient place where people who are not in my Academy Pro group can share screenshots of data, analytics, share information about RPMs, and so on and so forth, and discuss things and have a more serious community, can be grown adults about these things, et cetera, and kind of leave more of the hobby creator, young creator who's not a young hustler behind? And can we have a place where serious content creators can share information and can collaborate a little bit and not be like other creator discords where it's some shrine or fan club dedicated to the creator who started it? I don't want a fan club. I don't need a fan club. I'm 40. I don't need it. I don't care. I'm not an entertainer. I don't need a fan club. What I want is to be able to have a place where people in my community can talk to each other, where you guys can talk to each other. The people who want to talk to me, they can work with me one on one. They can come to the live streams, they can ask questions, they can super chat, they can do channel reviews. People can work with me one on one. People can join my group program. People can come to the webinars. People can come to these workshops. That's where people can communicate with me. They can ask questions on X if the questions let me show how smart I am. So that's where you can reach me. I don't need a fan club. Um, and I prefer customers. So that's just how it is with me. But what I do think is helpful for those of you who are smaller content creators is if you spent more time talking to each other, because it's my biggest regret from when I was a small creator was not talking to more creators, but also where was I going to find a place where I could do that that wasn't full of a bunch of low hanging fruit and was full of serious people. So that's the issue. So that is why we created the Discord server. We are going to be branding it to make sure the URL matches the theme, which is Creator Foundations. And the other reason we named it Creator Foundations to match the free course was obviously it's an awareness play and it's a companion to it. But what we also wanted to do with that is I wanted it to reflect the mission of what's a really solid foundation for creators really understanding how to build a career and build a lifestyle around their content and around earning from their content. So, what gives people a foundation like that? And the foundation of that is information, transparency, community, best practices, and having easy access to information. Those things would probably be the most important. So, that's what I came up with to address that problem. So yeah, I see a lot of you have my same feelings in the chat about Reddit when it comes to YouTube. So yeah, a lot of the other groups are toxic. Yeah, I see that sometimes. So yeah. Anyway, I think that that covers most of what I wanted to talk about with you guys in today's workshop. I think we did really good overall on the Q&A. I think we can close this one out at 2 hours, and that's going to probably help the mods with doing timestamps. Thank you to the mod squad there in the chat. But yeah, I think that that covers it. I think tonight was a great session. The plan currently is also to do a Friday session around channel reviews. So we're definitely going to be doing that. We have a quick super chat in at the wire from the salon guy. Good to see you, man. Hey, Roberto, I've been using ChatGPT to come up with titles. Do you think I should keep using it? If they're working, yes, but don't be afraid to ask it. What it could do to improve those. Also, consider throwing your YouTube analytics into ChatGPT and then asking it um, from this, what is something that is negatively that it recognizes? What are 5 things it recognizes that are negatively impacting your channel? And then how would it address those 5 things specifically? And then um, ask it to tell you why. So again, a more complex prompt like that, when you deal with ChatGPT, address ChatGPT from the stance of if you were talking with a very brilliant but eccentric, possibly an autist who's an expert in a field, and give them the information that they need to, but ask them for the specific information that you would want to get from them. If you treat ChatGPT like that and treat it like that type of person, respectfully and politely, then you'll get better responses and you'll get more actionable advice from it. But it deals with precise language. You cannot use ChatGPT the way you use Google. You need to talk to ChatGPT the way you might talk to a senior expert in an industry and how you would ask them for advice and how you would also sometimes supply them with specific information. Um, and the way you throw your analytics into that is you need to export the Excel file and then upload the Excel file to ChatGPT. You want to export that from your YouTube analytics and then upload it to ChatGPT. If you're going to throw your analytics at it, that's how you do it. You don't link to it, you don't screenshot it, you download and upload. So that's how you would approach that. Um, and that's what will be most helpful for you. But yeah, deal with ChatGPT like you're dealing with a very advanced human. Don't treat it like Google. Most of you, you're not getting enough out of AI tools because you're using AI tools the way you've been trained to use Google search instead of treating it like you have access to the smartest human being in the world. So treat ChatGPT like it's the smartest human in the world, but that also has very little emotional intelligence and that it doesn't know you very well, and communicate to it with very precise language and you will get better results. Same thing for Claude, by the way. Same thing for Claude, same thing for Grok. Treat it like a very, very intelligent human being that's beyond the pale, but has no emotional intelligence. Yep. Oh, yes, you can export analytics. Absolutely. I've also done several advanced analytics trainings and workshops here on the channel. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go to the live tab, a lot of you, you only go to the videos tab. If you go to the live tab, there are replays, hundreds of replays of free workshops just like this one, a free, multiple free thumbnail workshop trainings. We have one from just a couple of weeks ago where we even walk you through behind the scenes of the photo shoot that I did for my thumbnails and then advanced thumbnails. And we even showed you how I recreated a thumbnail from a YouTuber that had 8 million views on their video. I recreated her thumbnail in my style. I made her style of thumbnail with my own photos and we recreated that. We showed you how that's done. We showed you the techniques that big YouTubers use on their thumbnails. We ran you through the fonts. We ran you through all the tools in Photoshop and showed you how big creators make their thumbnails. And I think I recreated 2 or 3 thumbnails from massive creators. So we did that. And we even showed you a lot of the parameters around the photo shoots and the settings you need to put into your camera for the photo shoots. So we've done it all on this. We've even done a workshop on titles and using ChatGPT to come up with titles. And we did a 3-hour training on that with examples in real time and showed you in real time how to do it. And so all of those trainings and workshops are live replays on the YouTube channel. We leave them up for free on the YouTube channel. If you want to go back and watch those workshops, and if you want to leave a tip, you can leave a super thanks. If you want to leave a $2 or $5 tip on those, if you get in value, you can absolutely do that on watching those replays. But those replays of those workshops exist and they're for free. And we're doing a 12-week workshop right now where we're doing a structured 12-week workshop to give you all of the basic fundamentals of being a content creator. And so we structured and scheduled 12 weeks of live streams like this where you can get that information. We're giving you the slides each and every week as well if you download them, and all I ask in return is for the emails. And so we're doing that, and that's growing, and we want you guys to have that information. So we put it out there, and we're making sure you can get these slide presentations each and every week with the download. So that's what we've been doing. And hopefully you guys are benefiting from it. But yeah, we leave up all the replays for you guys. We want you to have the information. So yeah, so that's something we want to make sure you guys absolutely realize is available to you. And that's why I wanted to mention it. A lot of people don't realize that there's these like live tab, short tab, videos tab. A lot of you, you only click on the videos tab. That's what YouTubers have trained you to do. But we keep these replays up and out there for you so that you can benefit from them. Like that's something that a lot of people don't do, won't do. And we put together what I believe is the most comprehensive free training on YouTube because my goal is, yes, I want to make money, but we're also kind of setting up the beginnings of the foundation of the equivalent of community college for content creators. I'm not, in my mind, competing with the other YouTube educators. My goal is to compete with the college system that is going to try to shoehorn its way into the creator economy with people who've never even gotten a silver play button, never taught anyone how to get a gold play button, never got a channel monetized. You're gonna have people in colleges teaching this who've never done it. My goal is to compete with the college system directly when it starts handing out degrees in the creator economy. I'm going to compete with them directly. That's my goal. I'm not worried about how people perceive YouTube educators as much. I still don't love how we're perceived or marketed by people. And I don't feel like I'm directly competing purely in that realm. I'd rather collaborate and work with my friends and competitors in that niche. My goal is to make something that proves that we can teach the creator economy better than the university system can teach the creator economy because we helped build it. We helped build it. They did not. And so I refuse to let them come in to the thing that we built and then start handing out degrees and pieces of paper so that teenagers can go, hey, look, mommy, I have a degree in being a content creator and everything like that. No, I'm purely frustrated with that idea. I'm going to make them irrelevant. That is my singular goal, as petty as it is. So, again, that's something I'm working on. Um, if anyone ever asks in the future, you can reference this as, oh, that was his villain origin story. Yeah. But anyway, that's it for tonight's masterclass. That's it. We have another one of these trainings scheduled for next Wednesday. And don't forget, on Fridays, we have channel reviews. There are super chats for channel reviews. We do have rules for that. You can watch the previous replays of all of our channel review streams to understand how that works. We will not be doing another 6-hour marathon. We put the mods through enough. Thank you, mods, for your service. We put the mods through enough with our crazy 6-hour live stream last Friday. That was wild, but we got it done. We reviewed over 20 channels for that one, but we went really deep into that, and I had a couple of ranty moments about some higher concept stuff. But what we will do is we will be keeping those channel review sessions a lot tighter. And the other thing that we will be doing and bringing back to compensate for Roberto's ranty moments is we will be bringing back the morning podcast. Create Something Awesome Today podcast will be coming back, and we will try to do some of those live. We have some interviews as well. I have a new interview coming out from Justin Moore for his book, Sponsor Magnet. Great book if you haven't read it. If you're trying to understand brand deals and sponsored content more, this is absolutely the book on it. Justin wrote the definitive book. So that's great. You can also check out my book, Create Something Awesome Today, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. If there are two books you are going to get these two. So you want to do that. But yeah, we have a great channel review stream coming up for you on Friday. We have another workshop for you on Wednesday, next Wednesday. And we also have a series of content specifically around YouTube monetization and the new YouTube monetization update specifically. So those videos should be dropping in the next couple of days. You'll want to make sure you're staying tuned for all of that. We have great stuff in store. 2025 is going to be an excellent year for creators. And I really look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. So we will see hopefully some of you on Friday. And of course, we'll see you in next week's workshop. Remember the links in the description down below. Creator Foundations course starts at $0. If you want to donate, it's a pay what you want, pay what you can. You can donate $5 or $10 if you want to. I'll take 50 if you want to give it to me, but it is $0 if that's all you can afford and that's what you want to do. So you can get a course that can help you with the beginnings of structure for your content and better understanding it. We also include a 90-minute live masterclass. And by that, I mean, I did it in person. I did an in-person workshop, an event that's no longer available in New York. It's a New York event. They weren't able to keep the event company after the pandemic. So we put that in-person workshop up, and it's a 90-minute masterclass on monetization and brand deals. And affiliate marketing is included in that. So we have a 90-minute masterclass. We included the Q&A session for that. So that was an in-person live event that I did in New York. We filmed it all, good audio quality, and we included it in the free Creator Foundations course with our over 4 hours of material. I do not believe that there's anyone in creator education who is doing that and giving all of that away for free. So we have that linked in the Creator Foundations course in the description down below for you if you want to make sure you're checking that out. And remember, of course, for this week's workshop, we have the week 2 workshop slides for you to be able to download for free. All you have to do is give your email and we'll capture that. We promise not to spam you, but this definitely helps us out. So we gave that to you guys for free. We also linked to all the other stuff. If you want to check us out, awesomecreatoracademy.com. Check out the Academy Pro Group. Stay awesome, and I will see you guys next week. We're going to close out the stream with some information about Awesome Creator Academy if you want to learn more about it. Becoming a content creator can be a very lonely process and adventure, but it doesn't have to be. When I first got started going from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I had to do it all by myself. I didn't have a community of like-minded and like-hearted creators to talk to or to ask for advice, and I certainly didn't have a mentor to guide me along the way. I built the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group because when I was getting started, what would have meant the world to me is not to have to struggle alone when it comes to being a full-time content creator. If I had had a community of creators that I could talk to and share information with, I would have avoided a lot of mistakes in my early career, and there would have been opportunities with brand deals where I would have gotten a better understanding of how to negotiate, and I wouldn't have undersold myself. I wouldn't have been taken advantage of in those early situations. So in the Awesome Creator Academy Pro Group, myself and our co-instructor Andy Rivera, we meet twice a week for office hours with our creators, and we share information, we talk about how we're building our creator businesses, and we offer constructive criticism and critique on the things that we're working on for our projects. You'll be part of a community of usually around 100 like-minded creators who are taking this seriously just like you are. You'll also have all access as a pro group member to all of our past, present, and future courses, training, templates, digital downloads, and swipe files. You have full access to our creator blueprints where you'll see our systems and the frameworks that we use to execute. You know, you always fall or rise to the standard of your systems. A lot of people really underestimate how important that is. We have digital download templates that can help you so you don't have to start with a blank canvas. These done for you files are actually incredibly helpful, especially for things like your thumbnails, your media kits, and anything you need for your branding as a content creator to look professional. We have email swipe files that help you with reaching out to brands. We have great information in helping you price yourself and build your packages appropriately. And remember, as part of the pro group, you have the opportunity to ask questions from myself and all the other creators participating. And so this means that if you need to ask questions about negotiation or a brand deal, there's something you're not sure about, you're trying to find a better monetization opportunity with merch or affiliates, you have people who have done it before, who are already making money that you can reach out to for advice. As I said, when I was starting out and I was flying solo, this is the thing that I wish I'd had the opportunity to be a part of, and it would have made all the difference in the world in helping me be an even more successful content creator. If you have questions, you can always reach out via support. We're happy to help you figure out if the pro group is right for you. Also, we do have the opportunity for you to become a VIP member if you also would like quarterly one-on-one coaching with me directly. Now go out there and create something awesome today, and hopefully we'll see you in the pro group. Take care.